Wiggly movement. There's one of those technical terms again.
A bit awkward to spell, isn't it?
Don't do barbell.
I'm a science man.
No do dumbbell.
I picked the wrong time of year to decide to run everywhere. Yo, what's going on, guys? Rhys here from More Than Lifting. This is a More Than Lifting podcast with myself and ChristopherThatcher.com.
Thank you very much, good to be here.
He's got his own
website.
He is a .com, is what I meant to say.
I am officially a .com. I don't think you're anyone in this world unless you've got a .com, unless you are officially a .com.
I am such a loser.
You really are.
Nobody. I need my own .com. The thing is, there's already a Rhys Morgan or something .com.
Is there a Rhys
I don't even think the guy uses it.
Is there a Rhys Thomas Morgan?
I don't know. I haven't really looked into it that much. I did at one point. I looked at and I was just gutted with my options, so I just fucked it all off, basically.
Oh, I just imagine you sitting in front of your computer, really downhearted because you couldn't get what you wanted. It was quite devastating. Yeah. It worked out quite well for me, actually, because I bought ChristopherThatcher.com years ago now, actually, and I originally obviously looked for ChrisThatcher.com because most people call me Chris, although I'm kind of using Christopher a lot more these days. I don't know whether it's an aging up and maturing thing, or I don't know, just the way it's sort of gone. But I looked at it and I realised very quickly, actually, ChristThatcher.com was gone already. But I was actually quite grateful because every time I couldn't look at it and not see Christ Hatcher.
Yeah.
That's all I could see.
Christ Thatcher. I remember you saying that in a different episode.
Yeah. And so that was...
ChristThatcher.com.
But that was, there is a guy who has ChristThatcher.com, but I look at it, I can't... Even though it's my name, and so I think for someone else looking at it, I wonder if... I presume they would see exactly the same thing. So it's one of those unfortunate ones where it kind of is, the two names together is able to say something else. So Christopher Thatcher was, I think, a better bet anyway, and it's just worked out that I feel quite... that bit more comfortable using my full name these days, so
definitely
it works. But look for Rhys T. Morgan, because that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I know, but it's just a lot of letters, and Rhys is a bit a bit awkward to spell, isn't it? Anyway, we're talking about bodyweight training, calisthenics, handstand stuff, general bodyweight skills training, development, awesome little tricks and spins and twists and hand maneuvers and all kinds of crazy fun stuff, so you don't need to rely on doing a barbell or doing a dumbbell.
Doing a barbell or doing a dumbbell.
Yeah, don't do any of those bells.
See, I think if nothing else, people probably stay here for the technical conversation, don't they?
Yeah.
They're like, I can put up with the really shit banter, but these guys really know what they're talking about. They're very highly technical, so I think I'll stick around just for that.
Guys, stop doing a dumbbell.
don't do barbell.
don't do
no,
barbell.
No do dumbbell.
Guys,
do dumbbell. I say, but
do you do dumbbell?
Do smart dumbbell. I feel like we should tell people that this is probably the earliest we've ever recorded an episode. It's 8 o'clock in the morning, and although I've been up for about 2.5 hours already, it's a different dynamic, I think, in terms of your brain waves and your circadian rhythms at this time of day versus when we normally record, which is sometime late in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So hence why the banter might be even shitter.
I woke up about half an hour ago. So I'm all over the place, guys, and I apologise for that. This is a really short episode today. We're limiting it to 30 minutes because Christ Thatcher is off to go and see Metallica in Copenhagen. Woo!
Yeah, man, rock and roll. I'm very excited. This is a great year because I'm going to see Metallica tonight, actually, in Copenhagen, so flying out in a couple of hours. But I get to see Guns N' Roses at... the London Arena, is it a London Arena or London Stadium? Sorry,
I don't know. Where are you going, Chris?
It's London Stadium, so it's the Olympic Stadium in. But that's not till June. But they're the two most important bands of my youth growing up, getting into music, learning to play guitar. It was all about Metallica and Guns N' Roses, and I'm getting to see them. Having not ever seen Guns N' Roses and seen Metallica years ago, I'm actually getting to see them within a couple of months of each other. So I'm absolutely chuffed about that. Anyway, should we talk about training?
You never have to listen to music again.
Right, training, come on, let's do it. We're on the clock.
So we're 5 minutes in so far. That means we've got 25 minutes and 3 seconds. Go! Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about our running thing that you copied me on. Because I picked the wrong time of year to decide to run everywhere. It has been pissing it down this last week.
Yeah.
And I think I've run 2 places.
It's pretty thankless. I did I think I mentioned in a previous episode, I did the London Marathon a few years ago. I'm not a big runner, not massively into marathon running, but it is the worst aspect of it that you pretty much start your training cycle at, this time of year, ideally a bit earlier, sort of November, December time. Yeah. But it's grueling because you're trying to really push yourself. This isn't just going out for casual runs. Obviously, you're working on a program and trying to build up your endurance and your power and general sort of pace throughout that process. And you're getting hailed on, rained on, windswept. It's a really thankless time of year to start that. So I always feel for those people that decide that I'm going to get fit in January, and the only thing they feel they can turn to is running. Because if the running's not hard enough, then good God, the weather, the environment is going to beat you down as well. So I feel your pain, mate.
Yeah, but I have done it a couple of times, so it's not all been a failure.
Good. Well done.
So that's cool. And it's not the end either. It's not like I'm like, right guys, it's been raining, so I'm not doing it anymore. It's just been less than I initially thought I would do. That's all. Yeah.
And there's something that can come from, training in harsher environments. I say harsher environment, it's not like you're running up the Alps or anything, but
yeah, it's a light drizzle.
Yeah, but I think it's good for the soul to challenge yourself. I remember one particular run when I was doing the marathon training, going out for about 4 hours, and I was about a mile from home, and the weather actually wasn't too bad up until that point. I was about a mile from home, and one of my calves I started to get some difficulty with my calves sort of about halfway through the training program, and it just started to seize up, cramped up completely. I couldn't run, so I just basically conceded that I had to walk home the extra mile. And at that point, bearing in mind I'm only in a vest and shorts at this point, because I even though it was a relatively cold time of year, I knew I'd get so hot out on a 4-hour run. I didn't bother to take. I'm not one for, at that time anyway, I wasn't one for compression tops and proper training wear or anything like that, and there wasn't a great selection available anyway, so I didn't really go into that. So I had vest, shorts, and that was it. And just as I started to seize up, the heavens opened, and it wasn't just rain, it was hail as well. And I remember getting home.
Hail's the worst.
It was awful, absolutely horrendous. And I'm walking down the road, people driving past in their cars under umbrellas in all these coats, and there's this poor soul just walking down, in his vest and shorts, going progressively more and more blue. And I remember getting indoors and having to just get a load of towels out of the airing cupboard and wrap them around me and just sort of curl up on the sofa and then sit in a hot bath for about 2 hours just to get my body temperature back up to a normal level. I was just shivering uncontrollably. I was so cold by the time I got back. So, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I like to think it helped build character. So
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. I think it's a good test of your grit and your willpower.
Grit,
of which I have very little, so I don't really do running in the hail.
But you could go out. I think I mentioned it before, like how I used to I don't do it much now. I used to really like going out into the park and just training outdoors, rain or shine, it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
And there was something really enjoyable about doing pull-ups off a football goalpost, in the pouring rain as other people are kind of running to their cars or running past with a dog to try and get home. And you think, I don't care. It's just once you're wet, you're wet. Once you're cold, you're kind of cold, and because you're moving, you don't suffer it too badly. So
yeah, if anything, you warm up.
Yeah, exactly.
You get hotter.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it can be really, really good fun. But if it's not, if you were out in the park doing dips and muscle ups and things like that, you probably wouldn't think about it. But when you're out running and it's not necessarily your favourite discipline, and I think that's where it all comes back to doing stuff that you really enjoy. Because if you're doing something you enjoy, I'd play football in hail. I'd play rugby in sleet and snow, because team sports are something I really, really enjoy. I'd always be the one saying, no, ref, no, it's good, it's going to clear in a minute, don't call it off. So, if you're doing something you love doing, you don't care about it. But if it's something that you're having to grind a little bit more on, then I think you're going to look at the weather and go, maybe not today.
when I was young, I played rugby in the snow and the rain and that all the time. It was just it was just common. It was just normal.
Yeah,
like,
especially in Wales.
Very rarely did a game get rained off. Do you know what I mean? Which seems to happen all the time now.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a much bigger consideration of health and safety, especially with kids. You know, God forbid that you don't call the game off when, you know, the conditions are bad and the kid sort of turns his ankle or slips over and ends up headbutting someone's knee or getting knocked out. I mean, I remember getting, you know, various different injuries probably because of playing in bad conditions, and you know, that was just part of the course. You didn't moan about it, you just got on with it. But I think there is that, and probably rightfully so, there is a bit more of an attention to safety matters in these sort of things. So yeah, just a different time now.
It's only been like 8 years.
Yeah, a lot can change in 8 years, man. A lot can change in 8 years.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. It's probably actually been longer. It has been longer. No, it was about 8 years. Anyway, enough of my internal debate.
So what have you been doing in the gym?
I haven't been down to the gym. I haven't been down to the gym at all. I went to gymnastics yesterday, but I've been doing this. I've been helping out my gymnastics buddy, my gymnastics friend, with some manual labour. It's been exciting. We've been walking around shoveling tons of clay and moving like tonnage, and doing sinkaways in people's gardens.
Nice.
It's not been too bad. In fact, it's not been bad at all. It's been a bit like wet and cold, and it's been difficult because we've basically been working in a bog. Like yesterday was hot, was relatively good, but before then it was terrible. And yeah, so that's it really, and that's been the majority of my training. I've still been working to increase my reps. I'm on 15 now.
For
last week we spoke about my goals for this cycle and getting my rep count up to 20. I want to be able to do 20 reps of pulls, dips and leg raises.
Yes. Yeah, okay. So
I'm glad you pay attention.
No, I do. Sorry, Chris. It's early in the morning, you know. That was
you've been up
ago.
2.5 hours, mate. I've been up 40 minutes now, so shut your mouth.
Well, this is like midday to me. I'm winding down now.
It's almost bedtime for Chris. Yeah, so
it's going well.
So I have been working on it, and there are like a bunch of like methods I've been using to increase my reps, which we can talk about if you want. Seeing as it's about training, should we do that?
I think so. I mean, I don't think we're going to squeeze much into today, but I think if we can leave people with a little bit of value, that would probably be a good place to start.
Well, if you think about it, we're 13 minutes in now, and we usually only have about 15 minutes of training stuff in a podcast, don't we? So
okay, so what you're saying
is almost bang on.
Yeah, so basically we waffle too much. We need to start trimming the fat.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far. But
within reason.
Yeah, exactly. We need some shit, don't we?
So what have you been doing then to up the reps? And I'll see if I can interject with any complimentary wisdom.
So one thing I've been doing is a max rep set. Every day I'll just do a max rep set.
Every day on every lift?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought I was in trouble then.
No. I'm sorry. That was my authoritative questioning tone, not my authoritative, dismissive, critical tone.
I need to get used to your tones.
You do. You will.
But all right, I'm sorry. So yeah, just using my door frame bar and my dipping bars. I've just been doing it at home.
Cool.
And yeah, so that's been all right. Another thing I've been doing is I've got like a couple of different kind of rep tweaks to help increase reps or to do reps when you're fatigued, or like to focus on different elements of a rep, and I kind of like split it up into different parts and do like slightly bias and stuff. And there's about 5 or 6 different ways I think I do it. I have never counted them before, that's all.
Fair enough.
So the first one is just by any means possible. Yeah, which is just chuck all the form out the window and just get as much wiggly movement stuff in as you can.
Wiggly movement. There's one of those technical terms again.
Yeah. I'm a science man.
Oh God, I just laughed so hard I cricked my neck.
Oh my God, we should do it. We should always do it in the morning.
We really should. This is a lot of fun, actually.
It's only fun for us.
Yeah. No one's still listening at this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, so wiggly movement.
So wiggly movement reps, like whatever it takes. Don't worry about having your legs straight and pointy on your pull-up. All right, you bend your legs up, bring your legs in. CrossFit pull-ups are maybe a bit too wiggly because there's more just like swinging back and forth, and you want to actually be doing some work. But yeah. So that's the first one. Is just any means necessary. Just get it done. And that's quite effective. You can usually increase your reps quite fast because if you're like me, you're quite strict on your technique and your form normally. So I normally end up getting stuck around the same rep range because I'm increasing the quality of the movement every session or every week. But this just lets you go all out as shit as you want, just fucking get them in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get that completely.
So that's brilliant. It's really good for muscle up training as well. Just as a side note, as a footer. But yeah, so that's the first one. The second one I've got is I do these things called like I don't really know how to refer to them, but they're like 50-50 reps. So what you do is you'll go from your bottom or your top, the starting point of your rep. You'll like pop up or down as quick as you can, just almost like jump to the bar or like drop to it, and you catch yourself at halfway. So the pull, you'll engage your shoulders and pop up to halfway, pause there, and then do the top half and pause there, and then do back to the middle, and then back to the bottom.
So you're breaking each rep phase, so eccentric and concentric specifically, down into two parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so and you're doing them at the same speed?
Yeah. Right. It's like a 4-part rep.
And what's your pause time?
About the same. So it's about just a split second, not a split second, probably about a second altogether. But it's not pausing, holding for time. It's not jumping, they're definite sections. You know what I mean? And that's what's important. It's going halfway, top, halfway, bottom. Nice clean intervals.
I love the voice. Halfway, top. It's cool.
You prick.
It just sounded like some US infomercial narrator. It was cool. I liked it. It was good. It had presence.
Yeah, cool, man. Authority.
There you go. That was your authoritative voice right there.
Not really. Sometimes. You know what? Did you ever watch The Mighty Boosh?
Do you know, I could never get into it.
I bloody loved it.
I couldn't understand the humour. My sister and her partner are big fans of it, and they were constantly trying to get me into it. And I was like,
to meet his sister, man, because she sounds like she'd be hilarious.
Oh, she's a laugh a minute, yeah. Brilliant.
I don't know how you can't do it. I love The Mighty Boosh. There's something about the way that they pull the humour in. It's it just hits the spot with me so much.
I do think sometimes with certain, particularly comedy shows, like there'll be stuff I like, but if you don't show people, if they don't see it, say, from the beginning, or they just kind of get one bad example, like every epic comedy series or show or whatnot has got a 1 or 2 bad episodes, or not quite as good as the rest. And unfortunately, if you see one of those ahead of the really good ones, sometimes you dismiss it out of hand. But I may have just had a bad experience with the Boosh. But
yeah, I find that with loads of stuff. Like I show people something, and the whole time I'm like cringe, I'm like, this doesn't do it justice. I'm like that with It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They've got like 11 seasons. Yeah. How am I supposed to pick a good episode out of 11 seasons? There's just too much to choose from. And I've seen them all, So I go through the blurbs, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll find one quick, and then you go, I've seen that one, I've seen that, I've seen that.
Yeah.
And you end up deferring all the good ones because you've seen them too much.
And it's terrible if you're sitting watching it with someone, you're like, oh no, trust me, it gets funnier. And if you have to say that, then clearly it's not having the impact that it should on that person.
You don't think it is, it might be.
Yeah, completely. So
the one I've been having that with recently is, what's that? Rick and Morty. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Rick and Morty is like, it's like a cross between Back to the Future and Futurama.
Okay.
It's like a little cartoon, and I love Futurama. I much preferred it to The Simpsons and stuff and all that.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious.
It's all about Dr. Zoidberg.
Dr. Zoidberg, and even just the old wrinkly guy, that I can't remember his name.
Oh, the professor. Yeah.
Yeah, the professor, and he's like, "Good news, everyone!" And I say shit like that all the time. And Futurama gave it to me. But anyway, Rick and Morty, dude, check it out. It's hilarious.
Okay.
But the thing is, there's only 2 seasons, so there's only like 16 episodes or something to choose from.
Right.
And once you've seen them all, like when I the first kind of 2 times I watched it, because I watched it twice, 3 times, sorry, I was crying. And like the third one, I was a bit bored of the episodes because I was like, oh yeah, this happens. And so now if I show it to someone, I sit there and I won't laugh. and I'll still enjoy it. I just won't actually physically laugh when I do it. So I feel like it's not funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's, you're just laughing on the inside.
Times. Difficult times, mate.
Yes, mate.
Anyway. Back to the things.
Back to the things, the training things.
So we got 9 minutes left.
Yep.
Yeah, so how else have I been doing it? Right, okay, so I've been doing really slow negatives. Really slow negatives are a great way to increase your reps. I'll get up to the bar comfortably, like just a good pace, like a second up, and then I'll take like 5 to 10 seconds to come down, and I'll wait till the end of my set to do this, and just to really wear myself out as much as possible, and like really, make it hard, it's because that's what it's about. If I want to progress with it, then I need to make myself struggle with it. I need to feel the burn. You know what I mean? I need to have the pain, and I need to do this.
Exactly.
I need to wake up. So yeah, that's been really good. Slow negatives are really good to just stick in. Then what else have we got? Oh yeah. Other than slow reps, your 50-50s, there's another one. I've got tweaks here, but I can't really remember what that means. Oh my god. I'm going to cut this little section out.
Don't you dare.
I can't. We've only got half hour. If it's not half hour, they'll be like, it's 25 minutes, guys. What did you miss? What did you take out of there?
Come on, right. Look, we got 7 minutes now, haven't we? So
sorry, mate.
No, I'm not telling you off. I'm just saying, like, it's a little pep talk for both of us. Let's get focused.
All right, okay.
Because my flight's leaving in a couple of hours, so I need the vamoose.
You need to what?
Vamoose.
Oh, vamoose.
Or vamos.
I thought you said. Yeah, I thought you. No, don't worry. So, what these tweaks are is like where you change your position slightly during your rep to focus on different muscles. So, like pull-ups are a great example of it because it's very easy to imagine. So you start in your pull-up position and you'll do your first half of the movement with your pulling your elbows in. Yeah, so I'll do it and I'll like pull my elbows in as if they were going to touch each other, to try and like touch themselves together in front of me, and that'll like bring the first part of the movement up. And then when I get there, I'll turn my elbows out and I'll just focus on getting them right like round my shoulders, underneath my shoulders, rather than staying in tight in front of my body. And that it's a focus on your biceps, a focus on your back, a focus on your biceps, a focus on your back, and splitting it up like that it shifts the stress across different parts of your body, because doing a pull-up is doing all of it. It's doing your biceps and your back, and what you're doing is you're tweaking the movement so that it focuses more on one part or the other, so that you can give one bit of rest, give another bit of rest. It's like the equivalent of doing like archer push-ups. One arm's kind of doing a push and the other one's kind of resting, kind of flying, and then you switch and do the other one.
Sure.
And so it's that kind of principle that I've put into these movements. And I'm not archer pull-ups, because I couldn't do them on my door frame pull-up bar, but just these tweak it in. So just get that elbows right in together, get the elbows right out. And you can do it with dips and stuff as well. And with dips, you're going to do it by leaning out further, so you keep your back almost straight and your shoulders tight, for your elbows to come to 90, and then you kind of bring your your hips back forward, so that your shoulders then flex a lot more, and you get the rotation. You just isolate it as two different parts. The only problem is the concentric phase of your dip is quite difficult to do it for. So I would recommend just exploding for it. It's really only the negative. You can do so much with the dip, and with the pull-up it's the other way round. I mean, you can still do you can still do your elbows in and your elbows behind and your elbows out, but it doesn't have the same effect on the negative for the pull-up. It's more the actual concentric phase.
Yeah. Something that did just come up, which I think is pretty relevant if we can squeeze it in, is when you're doing these sort of high rep sessions for particularly your larger compound movements, so pulls, muscles, dips and things, do you do any direct arm or direct focused arm work in line along with that session? So do you do anything other than those moves, or to kind of really finish off the muscle group as much as you maximally can by maybe working through a slightly different angle? So for example, if you were doing pulls or pull-ups, muscle-ups, you would do some rows. Yeah, exactly. So you'd do some TRX rows or inverted rows under a bar or something similar to that. Likewise, if you're doing the dips, you would then just do some press-ups, because obviously the primary muscles within those movements, particularly the shoulders, lats, the larger muscle groups will be fairly fatigued after the work that you put in. But then just to try and complement those moves in the next session or the following couple of sessions, just trying to get the most out of the smaller muscle groups in the movement as well, i.e. the biceps and the triceps, because I've realised that a lot more recently. I had for a certain period of time done very little direct arm work, and it's very similar to direct ab work, for a lot of years, and the strength and conditioning communities may be a little bit guilty of this, of really driving people to focus on predominantly compound movements. Everything has to be compound, and bicep curls and tricep push downs and bench dips, or even close grip press ups, things that are kind of targeted more towards the arms, and certainly ab crunches and direct ab work of that nature have been kind of frowned upon. And we've even joked about it ourselves, don't go to the gym and just do bicep curls, do more structured compound lifting. But I think there's a great school of thought now of people coming back and saying, well, actually, to get the most out of my compound moves, whether it's for strength or whether it's for endurance, actually doing direct work on the smaller muscle groups, which are most likely to fail, or I'm going to rely on as the larger muscle groups fail in the movement to pull me through. That's actually quite a prudent thing to do now, if you can factor it in. Obviously, if time is not on your side and you're always trying to get the most bang for your buck, then you go for the compound movements, always, 100%. But if you've got the time and you're willing to kind of work at it, and it's something that's very important to you, then actually that direct work, even if it's just doing rows, so changing the angle of the pull into a more horizontal position, but then turning the wrists around so the palms are facing up, so you're in a very strict supine position, so you're therefore going to be hitting a lot more through the bicep in that row. You're going to put that much more emphasis onto those. It's a great way of doing it. Likewise, as I said before, doing very narrow close grip press ups, that's just going to put a little bit more emphasis into the triceps. So just something I thought, does that make sense for a start?
Yeah, perfect sense.
Excellent.
Of course.
So it's just something I think
the short answer is no.
Okay.
See you next week, guys.
But you don't, so maybe it's something to consider. And if anyone out there is kind of listening to this and thinking, okay, well, I want to up my game in terms of reps, that's another good thing to focus on. In terms of strength as well, in terms of overcoming load, if you can just for fun do a bicep curl, that's way and above anything you would ever try and do just for a few reps. It's going to kind of create a little bit more strength response. Likewise, if you do some high rep work, whether it's rowing or actually even just using some dumbbells just to curl out, that can just kind of finish off those muscles quite nicely, and then obviously that carryover can be something you benefit from further down the line.
Well, what I have been doing is not having it as an individual session because of everything else I've been trying to juggle. What I've been doing for my training is just doing 3 max rep sets every day.
Cool.
So I'll do 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening, and then 1 more in the evening usually.
Okay.
Just because I'm not about, or I might do 2 in the morning, depending on when I have the more time, you know. And it's just because I've been I want to, each time I want to be relatively fresh, so that I can give it my full. And then that's this week. That's what my focus was, because I knew I wouldn't have a lot of time. So I knew that was what I would. That would be the easiest way for me to approach it effectively and increase my rep count. So although I've been doing my little tweak reps, and I've been doing my little kip reps, and I've been doing my little other reps and all this stuff, I've only been doing 3 sets of everything a day, and I've been doing it over like a much greater time frame than you would in a gym session.
Sure.
Yeah. And that's the only reason, really.
Okay. Well, look, I mean, that's that. I'm not saying there's a definitive right or wrong. That was just something to consider, should we say? But what you're doing is equally going to work
dude,
as well.
I agree with you. Doing a little bit of isolated training to help with your muscles, it is gonna help. It's a great idea.
You would hope so, anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. Well, as
Mate,
informative and as fun as that was, we are very rigidly on the clock, and we've gone over already. So, shall we close this out for the day?
We certainly shall. Rock, paper, scissors. After 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
Spoon.
Scissors. What do you say?
Spoon.
Spoon?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, I think I can't really cut a spoon with scissors.
No, but I'm not entirely sure how spoon overcomes scissors. And as I did the outro last week, I'll let you do it this one.
I was just thinking blunt whacking. Might do the scissors in.
I'm not entirely sure how that's going to work, but
it doesn't matter. Right, guys, that's it for this week. If you like what you're hearing, hit subscribe in iTunes and in Stitcher, and share it. Send it to all your mates. Tell them how crazy our conversations are. And I don't want you to tell them anything else, because you might be over-promising.
Yeah. Exactly like we said with the TV shows. You'll be sitting there going, no, just listen, it does get funny. It does get good.
He does talk about training at some point.
Yeah, and it gets really technical in a minute.
Yeah, 40 minutes later. Yeah, so check us out on socials, guys. If you've got any questions, just ask us a question. We'll talk about it on the podcast. We'll talk about it to each other behind closed doors. We might even respond to you via email or tweet or Instagram, private message or whatever. If you're interested in getting started with calisthenics training, go to morethanlifting.com/28transformation. If you're interested in increasing your rep count, go to morethanlifting.com/100challenge and get involved in the 100 push-up challenge, which is not just going to increase your rep count of pushes, it's going to increase your strength quite severely over the coming year, especially when we get a bit more technical later down the line. But it's basically just a new challenge every week, and that's fun times. I'm going to stop doing self-promotion-y stuff. I'm going to talk about Metallica for a little sec. Everyone wish Chris a fun, happy times in Copenhagen when you get this tomorrow morning. It'll be late, but it's the thought that counts, and he'll greatly appreciate a shout-out. And if you're in Copenhagen tonight, or last night, as it were, then give Chris a shout out too, at Chris Thatch on Twitter.
Yeah, no, I will be there for a couple of days. So if anyone does pick this up, I'm not sure if we've got any listeners in Denmark, but I'm going to be out and about and hopefully enjoying some of the local beverages, coffee and beer most likely. So
nothing new then.
Nothing new there, no. It'd be good to hear from people, get some suggestions on places to go. So yeah, if anyone is listening, then give me a shout. Coach Thatch on Twitter, Instagram, and I think you can find me through that on Facebook as well. So go for it.
Yeah. Guys, that's about it. Share us with your mates and come back next week for more crazy madness. And oh yeah, and if you're a girl, add me on Snapchat. And that's about it, guys. Chris, go and enjoy yourself, mate. I know you're on a tight schedule and it's so early, like I'm really struggling to get my words out.
Yeah, but he's still talking for some reason, so well done.
I know, yeah. Cool, guys. We love you loads. Have a great day. Love, 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 love. And keep in touch with yourselves.
Bye.
Bye.